Welcome back to the night. Decided to make this spooky, and by decided, I mean I only had time to film now. Gosh, heckin' dang it, it is still Pride Month, and I'm gonna participate. I was tagged by Annie Elaney to do the Pride Rewing Tag, and I'm finally getting to it. Yeah. I love a good classic tag video. It's just call and response. It's simple enough, and we get to talk about gay stuff, which is so fun. How do you identify? Pronouns are they, them. I identify as non-binary, gender, and bisexual, sexuality. You're like, whoa, non-binary, bisexual? Those are weird labels. I agree. As I've discussed many times on this channel over the years, the words, the labels, they mean less to me than what that represents, essentially. I have found so much comfort and support in the bisexual community in particular, and now in the non-binary community. And these are words that describe, or at least attempt to describe, the things that I'm experiencing, and they do it the best, in my opinion. But in the end, they are just words, and the most important identifier that I have is myself. And I say that as somebody who does that imperfectly. I have a very interesting relationship with myself, especially my gender, especially my sexuality, all of it. And it's not perfect, and I never want anyone to think that it's perfect. When I first came out as bi, it was so fast that all of a sudden everybody started asking me for advice about bisexuality. And I loved talking about it, and I still do love talking about it. But I felt pressured to kind of give off this vibe that, I knew what I was doing. And I didn't, and I still don't. The things that we're talking about here extend just beyond relationships and attractions. This is how we see ourselves in the world. This is a radical change, difference to what is the norm and what is dictated to us. So there's just so much unknown. I'm still very confused, but I'm okay with that confusion, and I feel comfortable in asking the questions and answering those questions honestly, and I just love it. Share a story of you doing something that probably hinted to everyone around you that you were queer, trans, etc. Can I just paint a broad stroke over my entire childhood? I've been described as flamboyant for most of my life. That's a recurring adjective. It was one used against me in my youth while I was undercover with the straights. I'm struggling to think of one particular activity or thing that I did. People tended to just zero in on my sensitivity, and just call that gay, which I still don't get. I don't know, I think people just clocked that I was, just a little bit different than the average individual, pretty much from birth. Oh, I got one. I just remembered it in this moment, and it's my favorite thing ever. When I was born, I had very curly blonde ringlet hair. And I had two older sisters, and this was anecdotes that were told to me years later, that were always funny, but now are even more funny. We'd be walking around town, and it would be my mom and the three of us, and people would consistently say, "Your three daughters are beautiful." And, oh, it's so funny. It's always been funny, because it's oh, I'm pretty, but now it's in a literal way sometimes. When was the first time you had an inkling you were different? 5th grade, in the very limited sex education that I had, I think homosexuality was brought up in passing briefly, and I just remember being terrified. And I couldn't place the fear, but I just remember being so scared. It was the first time I ever asked myself the question, what if I'm gay? And it was done out of fear, which is so sad to me. And I just remember when I would develop crushes on girls, I would be relieved. I would just see a phew moment, and again, still very sad to me. But yeah, 5th grade, I think, was when it kind of became an actual question I asked myself. When did you first learn about being gay, queer, etc.? Yeah, I've pretty much always, I think, either been at least exposed or just aware of it as a concept. I'm talking more just sort of traditional gay and lesbian, and even when I was younger, I kind of had an understanding of people who were a different gender to what everybody thought they were, but in a very kind of binary sense, the very kind of classical sense. I wasn't really exposed to things like bisexuality until a lot later. I kind of always had an understanding that of the nature of things, and I think also I just kind of knew myself, like that it made sense to me. But it wasn't until high school that I had even like any kind of understanding of what bisexuality meant, and I wasn't really exposed to non-binary genders until like 2014. So like still I'm a baby like in all of this stuff, but I just remember being so drawn to androgyny. Like the moment that the concept was introduced to me, I just like, it's like my heart soared, and I felt like, I don't like, not at the time, I wasn't like, ooh, that's me. It was like, I want to be around this and I can't entirely explain it. And it of course like inspired me to ask those questions of myself. And yeah, eventually it got to the point that it was like, no, this is my community, and it's been my community this whole time. And that was like 2 years ago when I first kind of like had that sort of like, yeah, no, this is a real thing for me. And I look back on those sort of like early moments, like 4 years ago, when I discovered that, you know, I could be something else other than male or female. And there was just like this like stars in my eyes, and I want to feel like that all the time. That's a feeling that I wish I could bottle up and like turn into a scent and just spritz all over me at all times. Who was your first queer celebrity crush? Oh my gosh, yeah. When I was in high school, I was obsessed with the show Heroes on NBC, and I just remember being very, very like invested intensely in the character arc of Peter Petrelli in that show, played by Milo Ventimiglia, of course, who we all have crushes on, I feel like. And it was an interesting situation because in the character I saw a lot of myself, like as a person, like, and the kind of person I wanted to be. But it was like more than that. And then I realized later on, the more than that was just gay stuff. And I was like, oh, I wanted to kiss him. The whole time I did. That's like the first like bona fide like, oh yeah, that was gay sort of moment for me. And all the other ones were like not really celebrities, but like friends of mine. So I don't really want to talk about that because that's talking about other people, and that stresses me out. Oh my god, all of my friends who were androgynous when I first like kind of was introduced to the concept, and even those who didn't identify as non-binary, but especially those, I was just like kind of in love with all of them. Still am. To this day. Tag 4 people to do the tag 2. Okay. Ava Gordy, Rachel Whitehurst. You don't make any YouTube videos anymore, but maybe I can coax you back, because that's what I'm trying to do. Elena Fender, just all my babies, all of them. And then the 4th, I'm gonna tag all of you to do it as well. From the bottom of my heart, holy heck, happy Pride Month. Holy heck, happy Pride Month. To anyone out there who is proud in whatever way, whether that's a very private way or in a very public way, whatever way you exist, I love you, I'm proud of you, and yeah, I feel like we should all take the chance to just look at ourselves and say, regardless of our circumstance, regardless of what's happening, we're alive, we're here, we're kicking it, and in so many ways, the world doesn't want us to be doing that, and yet we still are, and that's amazing, and I love all of us so much. Socks is here. She wasn't in the last video. She was napping the whole time. I did not want to disturb her, but she came right up next to me, and here she is. Thanks to Annie for tagging me in this, and also, thank you to all my new patrons on Patreon. Oh my gosh, holy heck, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna put your names on the screen right heckin' now. I also really appreciate y'all's just response in general to me trying to find a new direction here with making videos. I feel good about it. I wasn't at VidCon this year for the first time since 2012, and that was like emotional in its own way, and also inspiring and motivating. As always, in conjunction with this video, there is a bonus video that's going to be available for patrons only on Patreon. So if you want more info about that, of ways to suggest ideas for videos, anything like that, you can check out my Patreon link in the description. But that's about it for me and this perfect little cat. If you like this video, you want to give it a thumbs up or share it or whatever you heckin' want to do, and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you want to answer the questions too in comment form, you're totally welcome to do that. I would love to see that. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. Love you guys. Bye bye.